This better be fast. I've got tickets to a show tonight.
All right, let's take our seats. Now we can handle this any way you want it. We can discuss it first and then vote, or we can vote now and see where we stand.
Let's vote now. Maybe we can all go home.
Yeah. Anybody not want to vote? All those voting guilty, raise your hands.
What?
Okay. That's 9 for guilty. Not guilty? 1. Okay.
Somebody's in left field. You think he's not guilty?
I don't know.
I've never seen a guiltier man in my life. You sat right there in court and heard the same thing I did. The man's a dangerous killer.
He's 17.
That's old enough. He knifed his own father. They proved it a dozen different ways.
Well, do you believe this story?
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
Then what did you vote not guilty for?
It's not so easy for me to just send a boy off to prison without talking about it first.
Who says it's easy for me?
No one.
What? Because I vote fast? I think the guy is guilty. And you couldn't change my mind no matter what.
I'm not trying to change your mind. I just want to talk for a while. Look, this boy's been kicked around his entire life. You know, living in the slums, his mom's been dead since age 9. I think we owe him a few words.
We don't owe him a thing. He got a fair trial, didn't he? You know what that trial cost?
Yeah, I lived among them all my life. You can't trust a word they say. What a terrible thing for someone to say. Since when is dishonesty a group of characteristics?
All right, we don't
What
need
you
to
just said
I don't
was
see any
very
need for
dangerous.
arguing.
That's a good point. We have a job to do.
It seems to me that's up to us to convince that woman that we're right.
All right, why don't we go around the table? Who wants to start?
Oh, well, I think he's guilty. I mean, nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. The burden of proof is on the
What I think he's-
prosecution.
I think he's guilty.
All right, let's stick to the facts. Let's start with the old man who lived on the 2nd floor in the apartment underneath the murder took place. At 12:10, he hears loud noises from upstairs. He says it sounds like fighting. He hears the boy shout, "I'm going to kill you!" He runs to the door of his apartment, looks out, sees the boy running down the stairs out into the streets. That's when he calls the cops. They find the father with a knife stuck in his chest.
The boy's whole story is weak. Said he went to the movies but can't remember what movie he saw.
That's right.
What about the woman across the street? If she doesn't prove he's guilty...
That's right.
nothing
She saw the
Just
killing.
a minute. Here's a woman lying in bed. She can't sleep. It's hot. She looks out her window, and just across the street, she sees a kid stick a knife in his father. If that doesn't prove he's guilty, nothing does.
It's your turn.
I'll pass it.
I don't know. I started to be convinced by what the people across the street said. Didn't they say something about an argument between the boy and the father around 7 that night?
I think it was 8, not 7.
That's right, it was 8. They saw the father hit the boy twice, and then they saw the boy leave the house. What does that prove?
I didn't say it proved anything.
We're wasting our time. Look at the kid's record. At 13, he was in reform school. He stole a car. He got picked up for knife fighting. This is some kid.
Ever since he was 5 years old, his father's been beating him up.
And so had I. A kid like that.
You're right, it's the kids. They don't listen.
We're missing the point here. This boy, let's say he's a product of a broken home and the slums. We can't help that. We're not here to explain why slums make criminals.
You said it!
I lived in the slum all my life. I used to play in the backyard filled with garbage. Maybe you can still smell it on me.
There's nothing.
There is something personal.
Now?
We're wasting our time. It's your turn.
I had a funny feeling about this trial. Somehow I felt the defense attorney never really asked the right questions. I mean, he was appointed by the court to defend the boy, but he never really seemed that interested. There were too many questions that were left unasked.
What about the ones that were asked? For instance, let's talk about that cute little switch knife. You know, that one that fine, upright kid bought.
All right, let's get it in here and look at it then.
Why do we have to look at it again?
This knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence, don't you agree?
I do.
The boy admits going out of his house after being hit by his father. Went to the neighborhood store, bought a switchblade. Storekeeper was arrested the next day. It's a very unusual knife. Storekeeper said it was one of a kind. Why did the boy get it? As a present for a friend of his, he says, am I right?
Right?
The boy says on the way home the knife must have fallen through a hole in his pocket. Says he never saw it again. You know what really happened. A few hours later, he stopped his father with it. He even remembered to wipe off the fingerprints.
Hey!
everyone connected to this case identified this knife. Are you trying to say someone else found a knife on the street and stabbed his father with
I'm
it?
saying it's possible that the boy could have lost the knife and somebody could have stabbed the father with a knife just like it.
Whoa! It's the same knife!
Alright, be quiet.
Where'd you get it?
I got it at a store around the corner from the boy's house last night.
You prove nothing. Maybe there are 10 knives like that, so what? The boy lied.
Maybe he did lie. Do you think he lied?
Sure he lied.
Do you?
He lied.
Do you think he lied?
I don't know.
Wait a minute, what are you, the guy's lawyer? There are 9 of us in here who think he's guilty. You're alone. If you hang this jury, he will be tried to get him found guilty.
You're probably right.
So what are you going to do about it? We could be here all night.
It's only one night. A man might die. I've got an idea. Let's vote by secret ballot. If you are still the only holdout, will you change your vote to guilty?
Yes.
Is everyone agreed? Guilty, 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 not guilty, guilty.
Who was it? It was a secret ballot.
What do you mean? There are no secrets in here. I know who it was. You come in here and vote guilty. And then the slick preacher starts to tear your heart out about stories about some poor kid, so you changed your vote.
Wait a minute.
Please, I would like to say something here. I always thought that a person could have unpopular opinions in this country. This is the reason I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree. In my own country, I'm ashamed
What?
to
We
say-
gotta listen to the whole history of your country?
Yeah, let's stick to the subject. Why did you change your vote?
He didn't change his vote. I did. This juror chose to stand alone against us. It takes a lot of courage to stand alone, even if you believe in something strongly. She left the verdict up to us. She gambled for support and I gave it to her. I want to hear more.
Look, I was a little excited. I didn't mean anything personal.
If the kid didn't kill him, who did?
We're here to decide if the boy on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with anybody else.
Guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. This is an important thing to remember.
I suppose you explain what your reasonable doubts are.
This isn't easy. So far, it's only a feeling I have.
What, a feeling? What about the facts?
Right! The old man heard the kid yell, "I'm gonna kill you." A second later, he heard the father's body falling. And then he saw the boy running from the house 15 seconds after
And let's
that.
not forget the woman across the street. She saw the boy stab his father. Now, if that's not
It's
enough...
not enough for me.
The woman saw the killing through the windows of a moving elevated train. The train had 5 cars. She saw it through the windows of the last 2.
Take a look. How long does it take an elevated train going top speed to pass a given point?
About 10 or 12 seconds, maybe.
I'd say that's a good guess. Anyone else?
About 10 seconds.
About 10 seconds.
It takes an L train 10 seconds to pass a given point. When your window is open and the train passes, the noise is terrible. You can't hear yourself think.
So what?
Right. The old man heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you." 1 second later, he heard the body fall. 1 second. The woman across the street looked through the window of the last 2 cars and saw the body fall. The last 2 cars.
What are you getting at?
An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point, or 2 seconds per car. That L had been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds before the body fell, according to the woman. He would have had to hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," while the front of the L was roaring past his nose, but he could not have heard it.
I don't think he could have heard it. Maybe he didn't hear it. I mean, with the L noise.
Why would the old man lie? What's he got to gain?
Attention. Maybe I looked at him for a long time. He was a very old man with a torn jacket. He carried 2 canes. This is a quiet, unimportant man. He has been nothing all of his life. Nobody has known him after 75 years. That's a very sad thing. A man like that needs attention. He wants to be quoted just once.
And you're trying to say he lied just to be important?
He didn't really lie. But maybe he's making himself believe he heard those words and saw the boy running away.
How can you make up a thing like that?
I speak from experience.
Is there anything else?
Yes. I think we can all agree that the old man couldn't have heard the boy shout. But let's just say he could have heard it. How many times have we said to one another, "I will kill you"? We say it all of the time. The boy is too bright to shout this so the entire neighborhood could hear it.
Bright? He's a dumb slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
Vote 7-3 in favor of guilty.
What are you basing it on? You pull stories out of thin air. Now we're supposed to believe the old man didn't run to the door and didn't see the boy 15 seconds after the killing. That's right, I'm sorry. He only said so to be important.
Did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran, walked, what's the difference?
I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how he could run.
Where was the bedroom again, Miss Foreman? I'd like to see the drawing of the apartment again.
He was an old man. Half the time he was
All right! This is the apartment where the killing took place. The old man's apartment is right under and exactly the same. This is the front door of the apartment, and here are the stairs. Now, the old man said he was in his bed in his room. He said he got up and went down the hall to the front door. He said he opened it in time to see the boy running down the stairs. Now, the bed is at the window. It is 12 feet from the bed to the bedroom door. The hall is 43 feet long, so he had to get out of bed, grab his cane, walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk another 43 feet to the front door, all in 15 seconds. Do you think that's possible?
He could only walk very slowly. They had to help him to the witness chair.
For an old man who uses cane, it's a long walk.
I think the old man was trying to get to the front door and just guessed it was the boy.
Guessed? You coming here with your bleeding heart about some slum kid and injustice. I'm getting real sick of you. This kid is guilty.
Well, maybe you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you bet I'd like to pull the
You're
switch.
sick.
Shut up!
You want to see this boy die for personal reasons, not because of the facts.
I said shut up!
You don't have to behave like children.
We're to decide the innocence or guilt of a young man we don't even know. We have nothing to gain or lose by the outcome of the verdict. It's for this one reason we are strong. We should not make it a personal thing.
Maybe we should try another vote.
Let's call out our votes.
All right. I vote guilty.
Guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty, not guilty.
Guilty.
The crime is being committed right in this
The
room.
vote is 5-5.
I'm ready to declare a hung jury.
Me too. Let the kid take his chances with another jury.
You still don't think there's room for reasonable doubt?
No, I don't.
Maybe you don't understand the term reasonable doubt.
You come here running for your life from your country and you're going to tell us how to run this country?
Wait a second, nobody's asking where you came from.
Right
And nobody's asking where your father came from. Maybe it wouldn't hurt us to take a few tips from people who come running here. Maybe they learn something we don't know.
Let's stop arguing. Who has something constructive to say?
Well, something's been bothering me a little. This whole business about the stabbing and how it was made, the downward angle of it, you know?
They went over that in court.
But I don't go along with it. The boy is 5 feet 8 inches tall. His father was 6'2". That's a difference of 6 inches. It's very hard to stab down. Into the chest of someone who's taller than you are. Wait. Switchblades came with the neighborhood I lived in. Anyone who's ever used a knife would never stab downward. You use it underhand.
So it wouldn't have made the kind of wound that killed his father.
No. Not if he's ever had any experience with switchblades.
I don't believe it.
Neither do I.
What do you think?
I don't know.
I'm sick of this whole thing. Let's break it up and go home. I'm changing my vote to not guilty.
You're what?
I've had enough.
That's no answer.
I agree! What kind of person are you? First you vote guilty because there are some theater tickets burning a hole in your pocket, and now you change your vote for the same reason? I don't think you have a right to play with a man's life like this. It's an ugly thing to do.
You can't talk like that to me.
If you want to vote guilty, then do it because you're convinced the man is not guilty. If you believe he's guilty, then vote that way.
Listen!
Is it guilty or not guilty?
guilty.
Why?
I don't think he's guilty. I want another vote.
I guess the quickest way is a show of hands. All those voting not guilty, raise your hands. 7. All those voting guilty. Vote 7-3 in favor of not guilty.
I still believe the boy is guilty of murder. To me, the most important evidence was given by the woman across the street. She said she saw the murder committed.
Let's go over her statement.
She went to bed at 11 that night. Her bed was next to the open window. She could see right into the window across the tracks. She tossed and turned for over an hour, unable to sleep. Finally, she turned towards the window at 12:10. As she looked out, she saw the boy stab his father.
That's the whole case.
Pardon me, can you see the clock without your glasses?
Not clearly why.
Look, this may be dumb, but what do you do in the middle of the night and you want to know what time it is?
I put on my glasses and I look at the clock.
So you don't wear them to bed.
Nobody wears glasses to
The
bed.
woman that said she saw the murder wears glasses, but she wouldn't wear them to bed, now would she?
Did she wear glasses?
She did. I remember this very clearly. They look quite strong.
That's right. She never took them off.
She did wear glasses. Funny, I never thought of it. She wasn't wearing them in bed, that's for sure. She said she was tossing and turning in the middle of the night. She looked out the window. She looked out the window right when the murder was taking place. She wouldn't have had time to put on her glasses. Maybe she thought she saw the boy kill his father. I say she only saw a blur.
How do you know what she saw?
Does anyone still not think that this is reasonable doubt?
I think he's guilty!
Does anyone else?
No, I'm convinced.
You're alone!
I don't care, I have a right!
You do have a right!
I think he's guilty, what else do you want?
Your argument.
I gave you my arguments!
We're not convinced. We're waiting to hear them again. We have time.
What's the matter with you? You can't turn down a guilty man who's going to be walking the streets! A murderer! He's got to die! Stay with me!
I'm sorry. There's a reasonable doubt in my mind.
We're waiting!
You're not going to scare me!